What's up, everybody? This is a fine Thursday night. I got Chris Vargo to my right, Coach D in the box next to us. This is your host, Jeffrey Harper. And we got some stuff to talk about today. Senior World's wrapped up. RAF announced some more stuff that's going to be pretty interesting. And then, like always, our Instagram is down below at the Deepwater Pod. Follow our kick, subscribe. We will be coming hard with the YouTube here soon. I think that's next week, right, Coach?
That is correct.
Yeah, so we've got in Deepwater as a team. We've got some cool stuff lined up for you guys. So hopefully you guys follow this journey, and we're going to keep you guys going with us. Chris,
don't forget our TikTok.
Oh, yeah, our TikTok as well. Everything on our socials, go to our Instagram. In our bio, we have a link tree that can direct you to all of our socials. So you'll have no problem finding out any. Again, the Facebook is coming. We have a lot of cool stuff lined up for you guys. And this episode is going to be a pretty fun one. There's a lot of conversation topics here that are going to get Chris going. And I want to see what at least one is going to get him going. And I want to see how he reacts to that. But most recently, Senior World Championships wrapped up. The Greco and the women's wrapped up. Obviously, we covered the men's. And USA, again, came out of the Grecos without a medal. Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, as per usual, Greco in the United States is light years behind every other country on the planet. I don't know if there's a single country we could beat in a duel in Greco. Not a single one. I don't think there's a single one we could beat. How to fix it? I don't know. Like, you go to any like USA tournament, youth, high school level, they all have freestyle and Greco in them. But you will know as well as I do, you get half the kids maybe stick around and do the Greco portion. Yeah. Like half the kids wrestle freestyle and they go home.
I can recall that when I was wrestling at the youth level, the freestyle Greco state, my freestyle bracket would be like 30, 40 kids, and I'd stay for Greco and there'd be like 4 of us.
Yeah. I mean,
the tournament would be cut short pretty much.
Even when I was in high school, you'd have like 40 dudes, 50 dudes in your freestyle bracket, and I'd have like 12 in my Greco bracket. It was like, what are we doing?
Spaghetti, you think we should just scrap the Greco style and just?
Well, I'm asking, is it the demand of Greco? Is people demanding Greco, or it's just fading out?
It's definitely not. It's not fading out. Greco demand is not low anywhere else in the world. Let's get see that.
Greco's one of the.
We're not going to sit here and make decisions on wrestling based on what the U.S. likes.
If I'm not mistaken, Greco is part of like the initial history of wrestling.
It's the original form of wrestling. It's the original form of wrestling.
Yeah.
But what irritates me about it is people have this thought process that Greco's just boring as hell because it's all upper body. There's no shots. But like when you get like freak athletes that do Greco, that stuff's
that's
buck wild
electric.
To watch. Like Greco's fun to watch, and don't get me wrong, there was a time period there. Even you go back to when Rulon Gardner won. The rules of Greco then, and for several years following that, were absolutely terrible. Like they were not good rules. They didn't encourage scoring. It was boring to watch.
I mean,
and then on top of it, Greco takes a lot of work for very little reward in the U.S.
So for the average viewer, Chris, it's the same scoring in Greco than it is in freestyle. You just can't touch the legs, right? And it's an 8-point tech, right?
I mean, it's
for the average viewer.
It's an 8-point tech. Passivity is different. Passivity is an automatic point, and then parterre. It's not. There's no shot clock, obviously. So I mean, the rules are a little bit different, but I mean, at the end of the day, Greco is not all hugs and kisses. And yes, I agree, Coach D would like Greco.
Yeah, Coach D, you would really enjoy Greco. I mean, my father is probably one of the biggest Greco fans I know. A good arm spin will get his goat. That's all I'm saying.
No, don't get me wrong. We didn't even have. I don't think we even had folk style back when I was wrestling. So it was just Greco and freestyle. So no, I'm from it. I'm just looking at the entertainment value of it now, because now it's all about showmanship. Purity of the sport is hard to find. You can find it in other sports, but the purity of sports is now tied into, is it entertaining? What is people buying a ticket for? Outside of my son does it, my family does it, all that. Past that, what's the value? That's the question that everybody's asking. We brought Greco to a board and go, hey, I'm going to put a $500,000 in this. Tell me why I should. That will be the question.
Honestly, in the state of Greco in America today, it's not worth it to do that. I mean,
Well,
Chris hit the nail on the head. At these freestyle Greco tournaments that do half and half, I mean, even at the local tournaments we see, the Greco numbers go down, way down.
Yeah.
It's just
well, I think it's just because we push freestyle. Like every folk style coach, like every high school coach, all these dudes that want their kids to wrestle young, they say freestyle when they mean freestyle and Greco, and they just leave the Greco part off, assuming because they're both in the same tournament, the kids will do both.
agreed.
So like a lot of times, it's the assumption of the kids will do both because they're already there. With coaches only saying, "Oh, freestyle, 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 freestyle," and then how often do you practice Greco? During the off season, even when you're doing a Greco, how often do you practice?
I think I mean, it was a little different in my case, in my siblings' cases, and probably your kids' cases. A lot of our coaches were pretty heavy on Greco. At least my parents were, and my uncle was. But we didn't have practices catered to Greco.
Right. Well, that's kind of my point, right? Like we don't separate Greco practice from freestyle practice. Like we'll do. Oh, in the off season, you got 2 practices a week, right?
Yeah.
But you don't. You basically do freestyle for 90% of it, both of them. Like there's no, Monday, Wednesday's freestyle, Tuesday, Thursday's Greco.
Yeah.
And then maybe if kids got exposed to more Greco and practice it and got confident in it, and then realize, you can just launch people 24/7. Because I'll be pretty honest, Greco currently, when you watch good Greco, like the world
It's
level
just
Greco,
bombs.
it's fun to watch. There's dudes getting dropped on their heads.
Yeah.
It's actually really, it's actually super entertaining. And to be perfectly honest, I would love to see like down the road when RAF's really established that they have a separate Greco division.
High level Greco wrestlers.
And like it's like a separate event they put on in addition to their freestyle one.
I mean, for the average wrestling viewer that doesn't know really anything wrestling, and what Chris just said about Greco, right? If you look up online on YouTube or anywhere, best Greco montages, it's going to be 5 to 10 minutes of just guys getting thrown on their head.
Yeah.
Pretty gross.
Like high level Greco wrestling is actually electric to watch. It's just the development and the push at our youth level in America, I think, is what is affecting us at the senior level.
Well,
aren't they gonna pick how you train based off what tournaments you're getting ready to go to? So if it's a freestyle tournament or a freaking folk style tournament, they're gonna train primarily for that because that's the tournament they're getting ready to go to, right? So if it ain't a Greco tournament,
any freestyle tournament you go to is going to also be a Greco tournament.
oh okay. Oh well,
Like
so much I know.
They're always
Jared Seagrass, Greco is trash.
Uh,
Hey, Coach, you're getting called Unk in the chat, too. They said, because you said folk style wasn't even around when you were wrestling, so you're Unk.
yeah, I am. Hey, you get to call me that all day. I
not
have
Unk,
been
he's
there
the
and
Unk.
done that compared to you children.
I'm surprised you're calling him Unk instead of Gramps.
That's Gramps.
Well, yeah, I am Gramps. I'll go with Gramps.
That's
Unk-
Gramps.
Unk is being respectful.
So, back to the state of Greco, though, right? We had 4 or 5 wrestlers, maybe even 3. I might be whatever. But they got pulled in the repechage and still weren't able to compete for a medal.
Yeah.
We had opportunities to medal.
Yeah.
We just couldn't.
Well, I think if you want to fix, it's kind of like trying to fix U.S. Greco is like trying to fix like U.S. soccer, dude. It's probably
you don't want to get me on this.
It's probably not going to happen anytime in the near future. But if you were to try to, I would say that like every single coach from like U17 and up in the U.S. system needs to be a non-American coach. And I'm not saying the American coaches aren't good. What I'm saying is you got to get the coaches to like coach the athletes in the mindset that the Russians and the former Soviet republics mindset is when they wrestle Greco. Like the mat awareness is completely different in Greco. The strategy is completely different. There's a lot of different things. I just think like Americans simply don't understand, which is why we can never break the hump in Greco.
I think you hit the nail on the head there with the comparison of U.S. soccer and Greco. And speaking of the other countries that wrestle Greco, Iran came in and swept the team race in Greco and freestyle. I mean, what they do is that's just lifestyle for them, right?
Yeah, everywhere I've been, it's been purity of the sport. I mean, culture. They combine it in. It's a lifestyle. It's not just what we do on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? They take it as serious as any other part of their life. You know what I'm saying? They clock in every day with that in mind, which means it's hard. It's kind of hard to beat when the purity of the sport is ingrained in you versus hey, pick what you're going to do on Saturday. Watch YouTube or wrestle. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even think it's for the purity of the sport. A lot of times.
Yeah.
I think it's simple as if in America you knew if you were one of the best wrestlers in the country that you would be a superstar, you'd be a celebrity, you'd probably be a little more motivated to be good at wrestling.
I think I would agree as well.
And in Iran.
He's going to get some hate for that.
I'm going to do whatever I want. Clip that. I'm going to say it however I want because fuck them. But
drop you on your head.
Iranian wrestlers are like the biggest celebrities in that country.
Oh,
so I mean,
massive.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? It is what it is. You know what I mean?
I think that is a good point to make. If wrestlers or any other sport outside of NFL, NBA, MLS, like if high-level athletes in America were treated like those NFL players, NBA players, they'd have more motivation, to get to a higher
also,
level.
If we didn't have NFL football like the rest of the world doesn't, we'd probably have a lot more athletes playing soccer and wrestling, which would probably make us better at it.
Probably.
I mean, to be fair, our freestyle wrestling is elite level.
It's elite. I mean, we took second as a team, and we almost won the title.
So I mean, not so much for freestyle, but for Greco, like get some of those linemen doing.
Imagine
Greco.
we had Derrick Henry at 92 kilos,
or just think about any offensive lineman, like
at 125.
Instead of playing football, they're doing Greco-Roman.
Or we had LeBron out there wrestling at 97 kilos.
What? So he could flop onto his back and cry?
I think he'd be a little.
He'd be a great soccer player for all that flopping he does, though.
No.
He'd be an amazing soccer player with all that flopping.
No.
Well, Chris, that's exactly what you said before about marketing. Wrestling is not marketing like any other sport. The showmanship and the hype of every other sport is not there with wrestling. Wrestling is strictly traditional. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to be fair, that's why I wanted to do this. That's why this is what we're doing. Like, I'm tired of watching phenomenal athletes that work their asses off get no glory, even though they work harder than 90% of the athletes on planet Earth. And they get no credit for how athletic they are. People just assume that, like, do you have to be a great athlete to be a great wrestler? No. But it helps. It helps a lot.
Well, I mean,
and there's freak athletes that wrestle.
A lot of NFL football players, linemen to be exact, talk about how wrestling helped them a lot in their hand fight on the line of scrimmage.
It's not even just the wrestling. Yeah. Linebackers, receivers, every level.
I mean, Larry Fitzgerald's a state champ. Anquan Bolden's a state champ.
So is Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's going to question that Ray Lewis ain't a crazy son of a bitch, right?
I mean, wrestling helps you in every aspect of your life. Outside of just physicality, the mental side that it brings, it's.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, it's just the marketing historically, at least in my lifetime of wrestling, right? Like, Final X is on, right? Why is that not on an actual TV station?
Like ESPN?
Like, why is that not on? Like, how is that not on an ESPN when they have friggin' cornhole on
the Ocho?
You know what I'm saying? Like what are we doing that's so bad at marketing that cornhole makes it on TV before like wrestling, where if you win the match, best of 3, you make the Olympic team or the world team? Like, what are we doing?
You know, do you think so? That's this is a good pivoted thing right now, Coach. If you think about it, the marketing that RAF is doing, that they were able to get commercials on college football Saturday during games.
That is my point.
Now,
exactly.
Do Final X and them take away what RAF is doing marketing wise and implementing it into them? Because RAF is doing an amazing job about marketing.
I think it's too many people in the wrestling world rely on flow wrestling instead of trusting their instincts and actively making the attempt to get these events televised.
Well, no one was doing it before. Flow came on board and got Sirius, whatever the hell Sirius is for them. Who else was doing it? How could you find it? Where would you watch it at? You know what I'm saying? Before cable became what it is now, I only had 3 or 4 channels before cable came. Where all gonna watch wrestling at? You know what I'm saying? You're not now when cable came, nobody was watching it then either.
You weren't even watching. You couldn't even watch college football when I was a kid on normal TV, unless you watched Notre Dame because they were on NBC, which was over, one of the channels you could flip to without just needing an antenna.
Grimes was around when TV was black and white.
So was I. Shut up.
hey, facts. Facts. Ain't no leaving lie, man. That's what it was, brother.
I like having a chat. I hate every one of these son of bitches.
It's great. But if you think about it, look, RAF is doing something. Izzy told us himself that wrestling hasn't seen a production like they're coming. And we saw it from RAF 01, right? And again, even leading up to RAF 01, I was getting ads on social media. I was getting commercials on bigger channels that I was watching. I mean, the Texas-Ohio State game, one of the biggest opening games of college football, I got 3 commercials for RAF.
Yeah, at least.
At least 3.
And it wasn't just that game. It was all day long.
And for them to get a commercial in that kind of primetime game, that kind of marketing needs to be implemented in other wrestling aspects of the community.
They definitely put a pretty good budget behind launching RAF because it showed up on newsfeed almost immediately. By the time I knew what was going on, it was on all my feeds. So they did a good job, and they spent a couple of dollars to get this set up right.
Yeah.
So they didn't wait on the fans to figure it out. They made sure the fans figured it out. So, and that comes from the WWE, WWF, UFC era of doing marketing. You got to put a big budget behind marketing to get it where you need it to be. Period.
Yeah, and and you have to. I mean, coming from a sales perspective, Coach, you can't sell if you can't market.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
The marketing is probably one of the biggest aspects of your product. And what RAF is doing is amazing work. And to talk about RAF real quick, so on a lot of our social media posts recently, Chris, I want to hear what you, and I'm going to let you off the leash here on this.
Oh,
right? Coach, we're going to let the leash go a little bit. We're not going to let him off. We're going to let it go a little bit.
Well, he had at least 1 beer. He should be good.
Yeah, he should be good. But a lot of our social media posts have been getting that RAF is not going to work, and that RAF is a money grab. And, I'm here to say myself, without going on a rant real quick, that I think it will work, and it's not just a money grab. So, Chris, I'm going to let you take the floor on this one.
Yeah, I saw that comment, and I replied to it, by the way. I don't know if you saw the reply to it.
I did not. Did you get put in jail for it?
No, you can't get put in jail on TikTok. Come on, man.
Yeah, you can.
Look, if RAF as a professional athletic league is a money grab, then what's baseball? What's the NFL? What's Pro Lacrosse League, for Christ's sake? Like NWSL, right? The WNBA, right? Those are professional leagues. Is their job not to make money? Is their job not to make money for both the athletes and the people that put the money in so that the league exists in the first place? Like, what are we talking about? I just don't understand. Like, how is having a professional league for wrestlers to make some money and for the rest of us to be entertained watching, how is that a bad thing? It's always these friggin' like old head wrestling fans like, oh, I don't want them to get paid because it ruins the integrity of this and that and that. Shut up. The whole point of it is It's no longer about do all the hard work because there's no glory in it. It's do the hard work because you're not a bum and you're not a pussy and get paid for it. That's what it's for. Now, if you want to talk about, if you want to talk about money grabs, all right, a wrestling fan calling RAF a money grab, let's talk about real money grabs in wrestling for a second, or in sports in general. How about any youth or high school tournament that has the words nationals in it, and it's really just a regional tournament because it's in a state that's surrounded by 3 other states? It's not a national tournament. Or how about all these random dual tournaments during the summer that everyone sends their kids to so their kids can win a dual tournament, but no one actually gets better at wrestling? How about those money grabs? How about we complain about the actual money grabs in wrestling? That'd be nice. How about, what else is a money grab? AAU basketball, travel baseball, travel soccer. Do we need to keep going on what an actual money grab is? We don't, because RAF isn't one of them. The whole point of RAF is to get wrestlers to finally earn their due and get paid for being some of the best athletes in the world.
Let me chime in. For somebody who lifts no weights, Chris likes to bang the table like he got muscles. That's first, right?
I'm Italian. Hands move.
The second thing is I've heard the same arguments too, and I kind of went back at them. The biggest thing that everybody wants to say is, what are they paying for? What's the difference between a pro wrestler and a world's wrestler, or an Olympic wrestler, or somebody who's competing at duels like you just said? What is the difference? When we look at a pro, we saying the pro is the best of the best. Anybody coming out of college shouldn't be able to be the pro. Anybody coming out of a high school shouldn't be able to be the pro, right? But when you got guys like Bo Bassett coming up and running the gauntlet, that's what they're saying. They go, what makes a pro better than everybody else? That's what they're arguing. That's what their argument is. Now, granted, you're right. You got these old heads, right, that only want it their way. They only want to see it the way they were raised on it. And we're evolving. We're way past that. We're in freaking 2025. Entertainment is part of everybody. If you can't deliver a product that not only you can enjoy the sport, but be entertained too, you're right. You're going to lose long term, right? But like I said, the question to both of you is, what's a pro wrestler and what's a amateur wrestler? What's the difference the way it is now? That's the debate. So let's have it.
You want to know the real difference?
Yeah.
What the actual difference is?
Outside of money.
One gets, oh, dude.
Outside of money.
Skill level.
Okay. Break it down.
Skill level. It's like any sport you watch, right? Can I tell you what an NBA player is? Can I tell you what an MLB player is? Can I describe it to you? Probably not. But when I see that dude, I'm like, that dude's a pro. That dude's really goddamn good at whatever it is he does. Like you can see it. The eye test is a real thing.
That's like watching college football on Saturdays. Like that guy's gonna be playing.
When you watch college football, you know which one of the dudes on that field. You watch him play. Like, he's gonna be in the NFL. He's gonna be in the NFL. He's gonna be working at some law firm in about 5 years because he ain't playing football.
That guy's gonna be managing his money.
You know right away. You can see it. Now.
Here's the difference. Here's what makes a pro. This is why RAF's going to be successful. They can control the matchup. It's not a 500-person tournament before you find out who the best of the best is. They can pick and choose who the best is. They can market in a way that we can say whoever holds the belt is the man. They can go, prove us wrong. Prove us that this guy doesn't deserve to be called the best. Right, so we can tell the stories that need to be told that the average person don't understand. That's what being part of a pro league is all about. The story can be told where it's not told at an amateur level. It's like the purity of the sport. It's hey, let them wrestle. Let's go through a tournament. Like you said, let's put nationals on it when it's just a regionals. You know what I'm saying? We're putting the value behind the athlete now to where you can go, this is why the guy's the best. Just like we said with Kyle, we realized that when it came down to it, despite his past, he proved that he's the best of the best by going out there and winning gold at Worlds. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now he's gonna at RAFO 2 though. He's gonna have to prove it against Mason Paris.
All right.
How do you think that matchup?
Honestly, I didn't know if you were talking about Kyle Dake or Kyle Snyder for a second.
He's talking about Kyle Snyder.
Good thing you said.
Yeah, Snyder. So, but I mean, I think there's a very valid conversation here, and I agree with Chris. RAF is not a money grab, and RAF is a chance for these high level wrestlers to showcase their skills. Like there's no pro wrestling outside of Olympics and senior world teams and just honestly international competition. There's no place for a wrestler to showcase.
Dude, I would love for RAF to get to a point where they can have like a UFC kind of setup where the prelims are on regular TV where the average person can watch, and then you jump over to Fox Nation for the actual main event matches. Like, it'd be great to see. Like, I think that's where RAF can get to eventually in the future, and I think that's why the roster keeps expanding and it keeps getting bigger.
And people want to compete at RAF.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they don't eventually get to a point where they have prelims and then a main event card. Like, that's just what I see coming at some point.
I think RAF is really onto something. They're pretty legit, and it's going to be – I think RAF 02 is going to bring way more heat than RAF 1 brought, especially with the matchup like I just talked about, Kyle Snyder versus Mason Paris.
And I think they said that was a co-main event, right?
That is co-main.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, we can get matches that we want to see. We can – the beauty of this sport is that we can social media match make, which means we can get enough buzz on social media where a match could be made. You know what I'm saying? That can't happen on the amateur level. That can't happen no place else, right? But at the pro level, where if there's enough buzz, a match could be made.
A match could be made. Giga Chad, to answer your question, we're not totally sure if we can bet on RAF 2 yet. I have rent payment I plan to lose. I mean, I would do if I could bet on RAF 2, I would probably put rent on it as well because I think as a group we went 8 for 9 on the matchups in RAF 1. The only one we were iffy about was Jason North, Evan Wick, and we probably would have hedged that. The Holly Holm matchup, we didn't include that because they probably wouldn't have.
What upsets me about the Jason North match is that we picked North, and then the way we explained how Wick could win is exactly how he happened, wins. And it drove me crazy. Like I didn't know whether to be proud of myself for losing at that moment,
or proud of yourself because you described how he would lose.
I didn't know what to do.
And it happened.
I didn't know how to do it, but all I know is I need another beer, so continue on.
But RAF 02 is, I think, I can't give you a heads up that betting's coming to RAF 2. Obviously, I want betting to come to RAF 2, and we can keep something on the table there. But just stay on the lookout on our socials for UFC picks for now because our very own betting team, which is Vince Sparrow and Wesley Harper, they cook up some pretty cool stuff when there's a pretty viable card. And the cool thing, too, actually, coming October 3rd is every Friday we're going to have some betting shows. The month of October is going to be a massive UFC month. And until the end of the year, honestly, is going to be massive UFC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Fridays are going to be pretty important if you want to tune in to make some freaking money because our betting analysts on our team, they know what they're doing. And they're also going to talk to you about betting management, risk management with your bets, and how you want to play your money and what you should be looking for when you're betting on the UFC. Because, Coach, you know more than ever, too, betting on combat sports is not like betting on the NFL.
No.
It's not like betting on NBA. You know that, too, Chris.
Well, that's because knockouts can happen.
Yeah. Betting
knockouts happen, pins happen in wrestling. Like you could be getting your ass kicked for 4, or like,
you could be up 14-1.
You could be winning 4 rounds and then get spinning back fisted in the 5th round and lose your title. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So our betting analysts can take you through how to really what you want to look for in combat sports and why you should be betting on a certain fighter. And also a thing about combat sports is leading up the fight camps, right? You need to be actually tuned into a fighter's fight camp. How was his training? Was his training serious? Now, I could go into it all myself right now, but I'm going to leave you guys to tune into our betting show on Fridays. This is coming first episode October 3rd because October 4th is Ankalaev versus Pereira 2, and then Marab and Corey Sandhagen as well. So that's a big UFC card, and we're going to kick that show off with a bang.
Dude, both those dudes on the same card is crazy.
It's going to be a crazy show.
But Jeff, you made the perfect point about when pro wrestling can get into betting is that look what is done for MMA fighters to tell the story of who's going to win and who's going to lose and why. That's not done on the wrestling side yet. It's starting to, where you get the backstory months in advance. You know about the training. You know what they're going through. And saying what doesn't happen is there's no shit talking, right? We are effing Americans. Look at the name of the promotion we're talking about. Real American Freestyle. If you ever need a reason for a target to be on your back, is when you say, I am the champion of real American freestyle. Every country going, you know what? I can whoop that mother effer's ass. If he think he's real in freestyle, we can find that shit out. That's a story. It's just now getting to that point.
I'm thinking like once you start getting, once the roster expands even more and gets a little international, you're going to see a lot more story, a lot more people talking, a lot more people yapping.
Yeah.
Because now you're putting national pride on the line on top of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed. I mean, Yanni's had a bunch of international wrestlers calling him out.
It's fact.
So
but rightly so though. Rightly so though.
I mean, the RAF just has so much potential to grow, and they have there's so many high level athletes that want to compete at RAF. Now, I will say this: I don't think a RAF belt holds more weight than a gold medal.
But that's what my question. Okay, walk us through right now because we're only on RAF 2. Okay. So yeah, but
make your point.
It's supposed to.
Your point.
So
make your point. I'll give you a counter argument.
So I want to start out by saying RAF as an organization does not have international wrestlers wrestling in it currently.
Yeah,
some, but it's mostly American wrestlers. Now, once RAF starts bringing in high-level Olympian wrestlers, high-level senior world championship wrestlers, then we can get to the conversation. Yo, this RAF belt might be holding the same weight as an Olympic gold medal. Say we have 2 Olympians wrestling at RAF, right? Or we have 2 Olympic medalists wrestling at a RAF event. When we have the same type of wrestlers wrestling in those senior level competitions at RAF, then maybe the RAF belt could hold more weight than an Olympic gold medal or a senior world gold medal. Currently, I don't think the RAF belt has that much weight.
I only agree with you in one aspect.
Okay.
Is that RAF is so new, it hasn't gotten there yet. But name a sport that has a professional level in it where the gold medal means more than winning a title in that sport. It's definitely not boxing.
Yeah.
It's definitely not basketball. Even the European League guys want to come here and win an NBA title.
Yeah.
Even though everyone makes fun of, the Americans, they call all their champions world champions.
They still want to go.
All you assholes want to come here and win one. So clearly it is, because it's the best players in the world that play in our leagues. Wrestling's going to be the same thing. You think RAF isn't going to be all the best wrestlers in the world at some point in the same league?
Yeah,
I think you're crazy if you think it's not going to end up being that way.
I do believe RAF is going to get that big.
American leagues draw the best athletes in the world in their sport. The only exception to that is soccer. The only one.
I agree. And don't get me on a soccer take.
cricket is the biggest, believe it or not.
Coach,
but I get what you're saying.
Coach,
but here's what I'm saying. Chris,
it was. I thought you thought it was a bug.
Chris is right in the sense that the belt has always had meaning. If you hold the belt, that means you're the best. And normally with the belt comes money, comes prestige. People who don't understand what it takes to matchmaking is a lot harder than you think. Even though we have tons of fighters, tons of wrestlers, to make the right match is tricky because you got to find out where they're at in their career, if they're injured, if they're not scared, if they're up for the fight. You know what I'm saying? Can you tell the story? Is it who's the A side, who's the B side? All these things go into making the right match that everybody wants to buy a ticket for and show up for and buy pay-per-view for, because it got to be the right match. It just can't be a match. And that's what the belt says. It says, if I have the belt, that means everybody wants to fight me.
I hear
what you're saying, Coach. I get what you're putting down.
I get the imagery of
Look at
having
Jeff.
a
Look
belt.
at Jeff Sling. Look at you putting down.
I get the idea, the imagery of having a belt, right? Because even UWW, when you win a world title, they give you a belt on top of having that medal,
Yeah.
right? So I get the imagery of having a belt for a champion in combat sports because that's just how it's always been,
And combat sports get a belt.
and how it always will be. Now I'm in the camp of that when RAF is in full swing, having that belt will be the preeminent title in the world that every wrestler in the world is going to want to have around their waist.
I'm on that same wave. Currently, though, I think a gold medal holds more weight. But when RAF gets bigger,
Here's the other thing about why RAF is so important, or professional wrestling period is so important, is because we need a backstop to protect our sport from the Olympics, from the IOC.
and this is why it's not a money grab.
Right? So if the IOC gets a wild hair up their ass again and decides we're going to do the most ignorant thing on planet Earth and try and get rid of wrestling, which they tried once, and the entire world was like, are you trying to get drowned in the ocean if you do this? Because we will drown you, effectively. It's like the one thing that brought Iran, the U.S., and Russia together in a common goal. That's how amazing wrestling is.
Keep wrestling.
That's how important wrestling in the Olympics was to the world. Like Russia, Iran, and the U.S. were like, we're on the same page, comrade. Let's make this happen.
Like wrestling needs to stay.
And they saved the sport, right? But if the IOC gets a wild hair up their ass again and wants to get rid of wrestling, if there's no legitimate, sound professional wrestling league, okay, the second Olympic wrestling's gone, college wrestling's gone. As soon as college wrestling is gone, no one's going to do it in high school. And if no one's going to do it in high school, youth wrestling's gone, the sport's dead. That's what got me so pissed off about my rant earlier, was all these old red wrestling fans going, oh, it's a money grab or this or that or that.
It's not going to work out.
We need a backstop. We need a protection from the IOC so that wrestling can survive regardless of what those clowns at the IOC want to do with wrestling. How do you have Olympics without wrestling to begin with? That's retarded. Like, first of all, you can't do that.
RAF is going to be the feeder program for everything else. When it gets to the level that it's going to be from the Olympics on down, that's where you're going to go. Once you reach the pinnacle of the sport as an amateur, which means going to the Olympics and winning gold, then you're going to RAF for the next phase of your career. That's how it's going to go.
I mean,
that's how it's going to go.
You guys are in this episode, and you guys have tuned in with us since our first episode. We have been saying that RAF is what is next. And after being at the first event, it's definitely what's next. Knowing what's going to happen at RAF 2 and then RAF 3, and knowing their plan in place and what they're doing to show what wrestling can be, RAF's next. I mean, chat, we're probably one of the first backers right now.
Yeah. Now, the biggest thing that's going to come down, like Chris said when I think in our first podcast, is a lot of casuals are not going to know the difference between a entertaining match versus a true wrestling match. Like when we get Holly Holmes coming in, right? And now we got two celebrities coming up on this one, right? The casual fan is not going to know the difference. So if it's hot garbage and the match don't go like it's supposed to, they're going to go, okay, well, wrestling may not be all that. But then they may have missed the fact that how good the one before and how good the one after it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's the potential.
It's nice you bring that up because RAF announced a pretty interesting matchup for RAF 02. They announced Caden Henschel versus Keelan Jimison, which is alter ego on social medias as Muggsy Bulljunk. Chat, if you're familiar, I'm pretty sure you might be familiar with who that is. But this is pretty much at its core an influencer wrestling matchup. Now, Caden is a high-level wrestler himself, and Muggsy Bulljunk is also somewhat high-level wrestling. I don't think he wrestled in college. He is also just a freak athlete, and he's got an insane following on social media. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts on this kind of matchup is.
Well, it depends on the market. For the Gen Zs, it's the perfect match. If you talk to any Gen Zer, you ask them, who do you follow as a celebrity, they're gonna say everybody from TikTok, everybody from YouTube, everybody from Instagram.
Yeah.
They're not gonna say anybody from TV. TV is not their entertainment. It's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and these where these guys live. So they're more recognized by the Gen
Yeah.
Zers than anywhere else. So it makes sense from that aspect. So you can sell. They can sell themselves very well, just like Jake Paul. Jake Paul can sell himself in boxing very well. Is he the best boxer? Does he fight the best boxers? No. The crap they're getting ready to put out right now with Jake Paul and freaking whatever, I can't forget his name. Just that quick.
Nick Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Makes
80 difference.
absolutely no sense. But
Now that's a big rep.
everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. So you can't knock what it can do. Unfortunately, entertainment, you can't knock it.
We got the chat talking about that this match specifically is a good example of a money grab, and I, not necessarily. What you got between the two of them, you got like 1.5 million followers on their social media. So I mean, like, the goal is to bring as many eyes to the event as you can. Like that's the goal. So, and in order for the wrestlers to get paid more money, you need more people watching.
Well, then you can't. Nobody can complain about Holly Holmes. You see what I'm saying?
No.
So once the door is open, you can't close it.
I mean, Caden Henschel and Muggsy are probably the biggest wrestling influencers out on social media at the moment.
Well, that and they're actually wrestlers, so it's not that doesn't upset me.
It's not a crazy match either. And they have wrestled before at an event. They wrestled a folk style match, and Caden actually dog walked him. But freestyle's a lot different. And so they actually know how to wrestle. It's not like they're bringing in athletes that don't know how to wrestle. So I'm intrigued on the matchup, and I'm excited to see it. And I think it'll bring in a good amount of views.
I think it'd be a great opening undercard match.
Like a prelim?
I think it'd be a good way to open the event.
Caden will poop
Okay, hey, I have a question then. Based off what we're talking about right now, I have a good question. Can a high level wrestler who has a serious pedigree, worlds, Olympics, the whole nine, can they still be effective and do wrestling and MMA, or they got to pick one?
No.
Are you talking about Bo Nickel?
I mean, not only Bo Nickel, but now, Gabe. You see what he's getting ready to do? He's getting ready to go in dirty boxing, right? He went from wrestling to football to MMA. Now he's getting ready to dirty boxing. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting more and more to where it won't be just about wrestling. I think a lot of wrestlers who want to be famous I can't be known for just wrestling now. Look at Bo Nichols. He wanted to be a knockout king, and he dismissed wrestling, and he got folded because of it. So, being a star is different than being just an athlete, and that's where everybody's going. They want to be a star in combat sports. That's where your money's at.
Here's the thing. The answer is no. Period. Point blank. End of story. It's no.
Why is it no?
If you don't wrestle full time, you're going to get dropped on your head. Period.
Well, if you're getting paid to compete, you can put more time behind both.
Look how much worse Bo Nickel looked in this wrestling match at RAF01 than he did when he was a full-time wrestler.
Yeah.
It was from a wrestling standard, it was a mediocre, below expectation showing from Bo Nickel.
I mean, if we throw Bo Nickel in college into that match against Cardenas, it's a 10.
He probably pins him, to be honest. But let's think about this. Bo Nickel wrestles what, 205?
Yeah, well, that matchup was 205.
Light heavyweight, right?
He wrestled 197 in college.
Put Valencia against him right now. Who wins?
Valencia. Trey Hidley.
Put Hidley against him right now. Who wins?
Trey Hidley.
Put Snyder against him right now. Who wins? What match? What match does Bo Nickel win? What match does Bo Nickel win against a dude who's top of his game in wrestling currently right now at the
Miles
senior
Martin.
level?
So
He doesn't win a single one.
So are you saying? So you're saying a prime wrestler in their prime can't do both? In their prime, not
No, wrestling's too hard to do.
Bo Nickel has had 18 million wrestling matches before he got into MMA, but a prime wrestler from day one doing both, you say he can't. If somebody can't win from the house,
We've proven it. You see Jason Nolf in our RAF 01? There's in no world does he lose Devin Wick ever.
That is actually a great,
ever
that's
if he's
a great
wrestling
point.
full time. Never, ever, ever on planet Earth does he lose Devin Wick.
The problem, not even a problem. The thing about doing MMA and wrestling is that in MMA you have to train all different styles of combat. You can't just solely focus on wrestling because in a fight, coach, I mean, I'm gonna get thrown. Jiu-jitsu's gonna get thrown at me.
I think, old boy against DDP proved that you can just focus on wrestling and do nothing else and win an MMA match.
Hamzat?
Yeah, I think Khamzat proved you can just wrestle for 25 minutes. And win a title in UFC because wrestling is the most dominant combat sport on planet Earth. There is nothing better than wrestling.
That was because DDP has no wrestling skill.
Well, proving my point even more.
No grappling.
Proving my point even more.
It's like who?
I'm not gonna say pure wrestling is. I'm saying if you adapt wrestling to MMA, it is. I will agree there.
Hey, you guys.
This is why you can't do both. If I'm an elite level wrestler and I go train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 4 months, I'm killing 98% of the people that do MMA. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And within a year,
hold on, say that again.
Within a year,
chat, clip this.
I'm beating guys. I'm going to be beating guys who are black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. That's their main sport.
You think so?
So Jiu-Jitsu, but pure Jiu-Jitsu versus pure wrestling. You say the wrestler wins.
100%.
No,
so
no.
Do you not watch these garbage Jiu-Jitsu tournaments? All you have to do to beat Jiu-Jitsu is stand up and drop them on their head. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Certain wrestling techniques leaves you exposed to Jiu-Jitsu. Certain wrestling techniques leaves you exposed, man. No. I get what you're saying, but no.
I did Jiu-Jitsu before I wrestled. I was a black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu before I ever stepped foot on a wrestling mat.
And you sucked at both, so what is your point?
How do you suck at it if you're a black belt, clown?
Somebody gave you a black belt? I doubt it.
Hey, somebody gave you a black belt. Who checked this?
The whole point of me saying that is, in no world was I ever going to catch up to wrestlers in wrestling, ever. It wasn't going to happen.
Because you're not catching up to a wrestler. It's your job to beat them. You're not trying to catch up to them. You're trying to beat them. In a match to see who wins, not wrestling rules, but fight rules on the mat, the wrestler will get choked out.
You're not even allowed to pick people up off the ground in a jiu-jitsu match. Because jiu-jitsu is literally one of the worst sports to watch on planet Earth when you're watching tournament jiu-jitsu. It's the most boring thing I've ever seen in my entire. I would rather watch NASCAR go in a circle for 4 hours than watch a Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournament. It's boring as hell.
But that's not the question. You're talking about a high-level jiu-jitsu versus a high-level wrestler in a match to see who will win, which means who gets tapped out, who gets choked out, who gets beat up, who does what.
All the wrestler has to do is stand up. If he's on top and the dude's trying to put a submission, all you gotta do is stand up, and then you just drop him on their dome because it's illegal to drop them on their dome in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Easily, but we talk about in a fight. We talk about in a fight, Chris.
In a street fight, a jiu-jitsu guy is getting absolutely murdered by a wrestler.
Okay.
End of story. Nobody, a boxer is getting destroyed by. You better catch him on the way in if you're a boxer, or you're getting dropped on your head into the side of a car, dude. You're getting killed. There's
just as many Brazilian UFC champions as there is wrestling champions, probably more. If we do, all right, Jeff, I got your test. I got your homework. So how many wrestling champions and how many jiu-jitsu champions are in the UFC?
there are more champions with a
I'd be willing
wrestling
to say
base,
wrestling.
with a wrestling base than a jiu-jitsu base, one. And two, the amount of UFC champions with a wrestling base is like quadruple the amount of ones with a Brazilian jiu-jitsu base in the history of UFC. It's not even close. Wrestling is so far above everyone else in UFC, it's laughable.
I'm not going to say that.
If UFC's point was to prove what's the best martial art in the world, it proved wrestling was from basically the day it stopped being rigged for Royce Gracie to win it.
Okay, I'm not saying wrestling is not superior. It is when you adapt it to fighting. But if it's pure wrestling, they have a lot of holes, is what I'm saying. The wrestling style towards fighting has holes. That's what I'm saying. If you go pure wrestling, wrestling for wrestling, you're correct. If you talk fighting to win, it's different.
You got to remember. You got to remember how many wrestling throws, right, are also legal in judo.
We want to talk about something real quick. If we want to talk about a jiu-jitsu wrestling match, high level, right? Bo Nickel competed against Gordon Ryan the year he came out of college
and suplexed
Gordon, but Gordon Ryan ended up submitting Bo Nickel. Now, we talked about in a match, right? But is the match a wrestling match or is it a jiu-jitsu match? Because there are two different rule sets here.
If it's an MMA match, the wrestling.
Now we're going MMA match. It's just a neutral round.
If it's a jiu-jitsu match, the jiu-jitsu guy wins because I'm not allowed to pick him up. Because jiu-jitsu tournaments are for little babies.
So we need to go neutral ground here. MMA fight, jiu-jitsu, high-level jiu-jitsu, whatever you want to call them, whatever, versus high-level wrestler. In an MMA fight, I'm taking the wrestler.
Every day of the week. Every day of the week. It's not even a question.
So not pure wrestling, a wrestling who went into MMA, a wrestling who knows how to do MMA going into the match. I will say that. Well, if he knows how to do MMA, I give him the edge. Pure wrestling, no. Pure wrestling, no. Bo Nickel lost at wrestling. Bo Nickel lost at wrestling because he didn't know how to fight. He didn't know how to do MMA wrestling. He tried to do pure wrestling and he lost.
That's not why he lost. He lost because he tried to throw hands like an asshole. That's why he lost.
He couldn't do the takedowns. He got stuff in the takedowns. He got beat everywhere.
I mean, he got John Jones. So John Jones, hold up. Let's pivot real quick. John Jones came out and said that he will be the head coach of Gable Stevenson. And John Jones came out as he said that John Jones would only go into coaching with a high-level wrestler. And he said a wrestler can get it done.
Yeah, it's the best. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not saying it's the best base in the world. I'm saying you adapt it to fighting. You don't stick to pure wrestling. Is what I was saying. You adapt it to fighting. That's what I said.
What I'm saying is wrestling. When you take into account that there's all the different styles of wrestling that we all do, there are significantly more skills that cross over to an MMA fight or a street fight before you even learn a skill from anything else. More so than any other martial art. Except for maybe Muay Thai. But if you get a Muay Thai guy on the ground, he might as well off himself because the fight's over.
Yeah.
That part's true.
Right? So as a wrestler, all I gotta do is get inside you and it's a wrap, dude. If I get inside your reach, it's over. Whether it's a street fight, an MMA fight, it doesn't matter. As soon as I grab you, you're getting dropped on your dome immediately.
If somebody has a ground game and knows how to fight, especially with jiu-jitsu, that ain't going to be the only solution. If he's a street fighter, yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's why you throw them on their head. You don't got to worry about anything afterwards.
If that's what you can do, you still got to do it.
Any wrestler can do it against someone who's never wrestled before. Any wrestler.
If somebody grabs your neck and covers your body and puts you in a control to where that slam does nothing to release the move, how many matches have you seen in UFC where they got slammed and the chokehold didn't get released, or the armbar didn't get released? Slam is not guaranteed it's going to be released.
We know what Chris is saying. Chris says a wrestler. Coach, are you on the wrestler side or the jiu-jitsu side?
No, I'm on the fighting side. I'm on the fighting side.
Hey,
so I'm saying
last episode you were on my ass about choosing a side. Choose a side.
Choose a side.
Oh, okay. Well, if I have to choose a side, I'm gonna choose wrestling. That's my background. I'm gonna choose wrestling.
Now we
you actually know the real answer.
We're tabling this conversation. This conversation will be going to our socials. We're gonna bit this on the socials, and we're gonna see what everybody thinks here because I think this is a valid conversation.
You got me in a second rant by accident.
Pivoting real quick, RAF has announced that Juliana Pena is going to be an announcer at O2. Now we have it pulled up. Coach Production Animal has it pulled up as a picture right next to us. Juliana Pena is going to be, or Pena, sorry for you, the Hispanic community, if I said that wrong. Pena. Awesome fighter, showman, but is this a proper commentator, guys?
Sorry, the chat's being a little ridiculous.
I like it.
Well,
that's what it's about.
These guys are on one tonight. Like, they're off the rails tonight.
That's what it's about.
They're literally off the rails.
I like it.
But that's what you want. You want the conversation to go. So I'm cool with it.
I like it. And it's actually making me die. But back to this. Is Juliana Pena the right commentator for RAF?
Okay. Well, it depends what we're talking about. If you want to get female viewers that watch female MMA, it's a good idea. If she's the commentator that's like the post-match questions or that kind of stuff, like the sideline reporter in the NFL, good idea.
It's always woman,
right? Well, not even that. It's a good idea, right? But it's like anything else. I wouldn't have if you want her to do the play-by-play. I think that's not a great idea. I think if you've never wrestled before, doing the play-by-play, if you've never done a sport before, right?
And you're doing a play-by-play,
and not even really like been in the community of it. Like there's some guys that like announce baseball that've never played baseball, right? But they watch it their whole lives, right? If you put someone in the right places that makes sense for what you're trying to do, then it's fine. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, from an entertainment standpoint, sometimes you gotta put recognizable faces, in the right place. Pena is recognized. You know what I'm saying? She's a successful UFC star. A lot of people know her. She has great stories about how she fought a dude, that she used to work with at a line cook, and the dude beat the brakes off her because she thought she could beat the world. That trended all around the world. So she's recognizable. And in entertainment, you gotta have recognizable people there. That's why Chael versus Tito in a face off to match up is entertainment. You gotta have those components.
I don't think it's a bad move at all by RAF. I think Chris made a good point at getting more of a female viewership, having Juliana Pena as a commentator and being associated with RAF. It helps with female viewership. I think it's a good move by RAF. I'm excited to see how it pans out. And again, look, we had Chael for RAF 1. Now we have Pena for RAF 2. Now think about what we're getting at RAF 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Honestly, to be fair, like it's about. I understand what they're trying to do. They are really working the angle of bringing UFC and MMA fans over into RAF and getting those crossover viewers to supplement the avid wrestling fan, which is a great business plan, and it's a necessary business plan if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the first conversation we had the early conversation we had about how wrestling is so translatable to UFC and what it's a sense of pride for us wrestlers to watch wrestlers go out there and just beat the brakes off people in at UFC.
Oh, all the time.
I always root for a wrestler, even if it's like some dude from a different country wrestling an American. If the American is not a wrestler, I want the foreign wrestler to win. I care more about the wrestler than I do about my country at that point.
When Ben Askren got knocked out by obviously we'll pause this real quick. Ben Askren's recovery is doing really well. He was jogging. Super happy for him. And I hate to bring this up. It always gets brought up. But when he got knocked out by Jorge Masvidal in the first 5 seconds, I was embarrassed by the rest to be a part of the wrestling community. But no hate to Ben Askren. I love you, Ben Askren, and you showed out for the wrestling community when you needed to. But back to what Chris was saying. Now, I just thought of something, right? If RAF is going to get influencer matchups, when we blow up like we are going to blow up,
I'm not wrestling anybody.
we're going to get Chris Fargo on a RAF card.
We're not. Nope.
When we blow up, if RAF is doing
Nope.
influencer matchups, and we know how to wrestle, we're not bad. Well,
Look, you're gonna have to get me a nutritionist, a trainer.
chat, we're gonna get
cardio
Chris
guy.
Fargo on a RAF card.
Dude, I'm gonna pull.
I'm telling you right now, you put me in a singlet and RAF is canceled immediately. It'll be banned in 50 nations.
Coach, do you look like modern day Daniel Cormier in a singlet, bro?
Hey.
So what you're saying is if it came down to it, I'd have to represent us at RAF.
So let's get back into where we're going in the future. So Jeff, what do you think about betting and wrestling? What do you think? You think it can work? Do you really think it can work?
Jeff versus Diddy. All right, Coach, that's a great question. The first time it's nice that you bring that up as well, and betting and wrestling, and there's so much you can think about with it. The first time that I ever was able to bet on wrestling was the Olympics in 2024. And now how you were able to bet on that was you were only allowed to bet on the champion.
Okay.
So, and you couldn't live bet, you couldn't over under takedowns, you could only bet.
It was like the most basic betting.
It was the most basic betting, and you could only bet who was going to win Olympic gold. You couldn't bet bronze, silver.
Dude, you could do the trifecta like horse racing for wrestling, dude. Gold, silver, bronze.
Now imagine you could do that. No, I still think that sports books are learning the intricacies of wrestling and how they could apply more betting on it, because it's Vegas. Think about it, Coach. Vegas likes making money. There's money to be made on wrestling, especially with the potential that RAF has and the potential other leagues are having, like Claw. Now, I've heard Claw's been getting some bad stuff here and there, and we're not going to get in that. But there's money to be made on wrestling in the world. Imagine if we could have bet on the Senior World Championships.
We would have made a decent amount of money.
I probably would have put the rent down on Senior World Championship, Coach. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but our picks did pretty freaking well.
Yeah.
So the hard part about betting and wrestling is
the rule sets.
The rule sets. It's not scripted. We're not going to get into that, by the way. We're not going to get into scripted sports and what's scripted, what's not scripted. It's not scripted.
Oh, like the NFL.
Yeah, and a lot of money on sports betting is made in the live betting sector.
Yeah,
it's harder to bet live on a wrestling match because it's a continuous clock, and when the clock isn't running, the rest period's like 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you have to be if they are going to put live betting in it, you're going to have to be hawking the lines while that break is happening.
They're going to have to do it like at the intermission is 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to throw a live bet up, like, who do you think gets the most takedowns?
And you have to be on it right away.
Over, under X amount of points in the second period.
Yeah. So
now you could do it in RAF because there's 3 periods.
Yeah, there's 3 periods and there are 30-second rests in between.
Yeah.
But like I said, you have to be hawking that live bet like your life depends on it. Like you know what you want.
But the trade-off to that, because I'm okay, 1 second. The trade-off to that is what goes on in the dressing room. Just like with the UFC. And Dana White says, hey, if you want this bonus, you better deliver a show-stopping performance. So if bonuses are on the line, you're not going to get wrestlers stalling. You're not going to get wrestlers, trying to ride the clock out. You're not going to get all that. You're going to see a lot more aggression to win because now you got bonuses on the line. So that may affect the betting as well.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. And Coach, our chat actually reminded me of something. So some of the big college wrestling dual meets you can bet on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's usually any Penn State Iowa matchup. Anytime Penn State and Iowa wrestle in a dual meet, you can usually bet on it, but it's very basic. You can only bet on who wins the dual meet.
It's
And
so stupid.
And Penn State's usually like a minus 1,400, so
Yeah,
it doesn't even make it worth the bet.
It's not even worth making money off of.
No. But that's the problem a bit about wrestling is you could probably only bet money lines. And, I mean, they could go into an intricate bet as, like, you know how, like, NFL does before season bets, like who's going to have the most receiving yards. You could do, like, a RAF card. Who's going to have the most takedowns by the end of the night, right? Or who's going to put up the most points? Who's going to have the fastest tech, right? This and that. There's a lot that goes into wrestling and betting that I do think sports books are working on it. And I think it'll come faster than we think. I just think it'll be pretty basic at first.
What I do love about wrestling, and this is where you could really blow up the popularity of wrestling, is with fucking degenerates that gamble.
Right? Oh, they'll bet on anything.
Because the amount and variety of bets you can have for a single match, and then, especially in like a college wrestling scenario, you got 10 matches inside the overall match, which you can also bet on. Like, and then with RAF, you got 10 matches, just like UFC, you can bet on, right? But you got, first, second, third period bets, takedown bets, pin bet.
Yeah, is this match getting to the third bet?
Match ends over under on 1.5 rounds. You know, like there's so much stuff you can bet on just in one match, let alone 10 or 12 or whatever. Like, you want to talk about a gambler's rush? Combat sports is the place to do it.
Well, I have a question for the both of you guys. Should we add a masters division to wrestling? People over the age of
that.
They already have it.
That.
I mean, like for RAF.
Like 7 of them.
For RAF.
Oh, you mean like the Champions Tour for the PGA, where everyone over 55 gets to do it?
Yeah, like I said, they're just out of their prime, but they still got a little left of the tank.
I mean, I think you should focus on having a getting the main product to where you have a prelims that can be broadcast on TV that people don't have to pay for, and then
I like that.
Jump to
division,
and then jump to the pay-per-view for the main event, and then maybe develop a minor league at some point where you have one league where the prospects you're looking at,
like a contender series.
Dude, to be honest with you, I would love to get to the point where you have like your individual feeder for RAF, and then you got like your team's division for RAF, and there's like an actual draft, like a professional draft to bring people into RAF. Like, that's the beauty about wrestling being an individual sport based on within a team, is there's so many different directions you can go based on like the viewers you get and the amount of money you get. Like, wrestling's so flexible in the amount of different directions you can go because it's an individual sport based on a team dynamic at every level. So like, you got RAF as it's now, that'll never change, where you have your pay-per-views and blah 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 blah. But what's stopping you from one day having like an 8-team professional league based in like your normal major cities you're used to for professional leagues as a secondary league where guys get drafted into that league and get paid X, Y, and Z. Like, there's so many. You can do both, which is different than most pro sports.
Yeah.
You know,
that's just me spitballing. Maybe I've had a few too many beers, but
so to me, the bottom line that RAF is going to really take a hold on is make that belt the pinnacle of wrestling. When that belt is worth so much money, right? That when you hold the belt, your whole life changes. Just like in the UFC. When you win the belt, your money goes up exponentially because you got the belt. I think that's what's going to happen with RAF. That belt is going to be the crown of wrestling in a short amount of time.
You know, I agree, Coach. You know, I said earlier that a gold medal holds a little bit more weight, but once RAF blows up, I think that belt is going to mean a lot more. I mean, we've already seen high-level international wrestlers calling out current RAF champions, and we've seen some banter going on social media. There's a real pecking. They're creating a pecking order, and I do think that when it gets bigger, we're going to see rankings like UFC has
for
rankings.
sure. Wouldn't you like one day to see, like, in addition to having the individual RAF events that happen, having like an 8 or 16 team like
Bracket.
professional league where like there's a professional draft.
Imagine you do
like,
fantasy.
They travel
fantasy
around
wrestling.
the country and like you can go watch a professional wrestling match between like Chicago and Detroit or Chicago and whatever. Like as like a same league, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because wrestling's really one of the only sports that can do that.
Mhm.
Where you can be, I can have this individual UFC style thing, then I can also have this MLB, NHL, professional team league.
So what does that look like? Multiple, like a tournament style, or what does that look like? I'm trying to kind of get what you're trying to say.
You do your same thing. Like you have your divisions, you have your playoffs, you crown your team champ.
I got you.
You do it in between. You have it scheduled so that's what fills the gap between your pay-per-views.
You talking about like dual meet tournaments?
Yeah, like have actual teams. Like you have a draft. You have an amateur draft. You draft guys in, and all that, and that's what fills the gap between all your pay-per-views. You have like a league in like whatever time of year you want to do it.
Well, RAF was planning on 12 events a year. So between that is marketing. So if done right, we're gonna be still filled up. Talk about those matches coming up in the next couple of months. If they do it like they said, like Izzy said it was gonna happen.
Well, I get it. I'm just saying, like, I'm just thinking long term, right? Like wrestling has the ability to do something other sports can't.
Chris, Chris, what did I tell you about thinking? I told you don't do it.
It's dangerous for him.
Yeah. It causes problems.
I don't get that. I'm the idea guy of this whole operation. I don't understand why I'm getting
I don't know who told you that shit. I met your kids. Your kids don't have an idea amongst the three of them.
Everyone knows that's the truth.
I think we Chris is onto something a little bit about that. Wrestling has so many avenues that can go down, and look, there's money to be made in the sport of wrestling, and I think though that this is a good thing that RAF is going to. Chat, you're doing great tonight. I saw earlier. Your name is I will get my clan battles done. I will do that. I think this is a good piece to end on as well. That be on the lookout for sports betting and wrestling, but I think it will start out super basic, like they did at the Olympics, and I think it'll evolve just as RAF evolves.
I honestly, for RAF specifically, I don't see it starting out that basic.
I honestly don't as well, and
I see them kind of trying to copy the UFC, model for their betting, and try to have odds for pins, techs, and decisions, and
I agree.
Periods
you can bet the round and how the match finishes.
Yeah, there's already and the best part about betting the round is you don't have to bet based on a judge's decision. There's a score at the end of the round,
now,
so you know if you won or not.
Something to think about too, because the Holly Holm matchup was a surprise. Nobody knew Holly Holm was coming out until she came out. Now, something like that would not be on the betting sheet, though, right? Because if RAF as an event wants to keep that a surprise, that matchup you just couldn't bet on.
Yeah, which is fine because that matchup isn't for anything, right? No one got a belt out of that.
No, nobody got a belt.
You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world.
So
but
do you think
you also got to realize when RAF gets to the point where they don't have to do something like that anymore. You know what I mean?
Don't have to. What do you mean? That was great. They're gonna keep on doing that. That hit a home run. That's not going away. That was a home run.
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. There's a reason why there's no surprises in UFC anymore. Because they're so big, they don't have. It's so big and so successful, they don't have to do that anymore.
Well, fair point. I get what you're saying.
That's the route I was going with that comment.
But you gotta understand is who's at the helm. it's still, WWE style of surprise. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna always have some kind of X factor all the time. That's the model that I think they're gonna stick with, so that they can always keep the guessing game going. It's got to be a surprise at some point. It can't be that predictable when we know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
I think that's I think that's just an initial thing to bring in the audience they need to know that they're going to have a baseline to continue off of. I think their ultimate goal is to be more like UFC than WWE.
I think so too.
That's my honest opinion. That's my personal honest opinion. And honestly, as a wrestling fan, I would also like to see be working towards the route of UFC and not WWE. Just for me, I would be entertained more going that route.
I'd agree. I think.
Well, right now, they're going to get the talent. The talent's coming. Like we were talking about. Once they become the pinnacle where your life changes when you hit that mat and you win a belt, your life changes. That's going to put target on that belt that everybody's going to want it. So you're going to get the talent you want. I guarantee that. I think
that's a good point. I think that's the biggest reason why I think RAF's going to work. If you look at all like the past professional wrestling leagues that were tried,
yeah,
and there's been a couple. They never got the buy-in from the athletes, which is why they failed.
Oh no,
they never got the buy-in.
No, RAF did it right in a way that I have to shake their hand, because they put themselves in the freaking in the frying pan forever by saying real American freestyle means the whole world is coming to get them. It's America against the world. They could not have done a better name if they tried. The world will always be coming to get us, always, because of that.
I'm excited for what RAF's got to bring in the future and how it's going to grow, and see international wrestlers come in and wrestle.
So would Greco be RAG?
Real American Greco. I honestly, I don't. That was good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I don't think Greco is going to come to RAF or RAG. But nonetheless, chat, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Betting is going to be coming to RAF. It will be. Trust me, it's going to be there, whether it's at this event or the next event or by the end of the year next year. Betting will be coming to wrestling. I think it will, and if it's not, we'll make it happen.
Dude, betting on wrestling is dangerous.
It'll be dangerous.
It's so dangerous.
But, chat, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Like always, our link tree is in our Instagram bio. That's got links to all of our socials. Check that out. Like, subscribe, repost. Keep hanging out with us Thursday. And again, we have a betting episode coming out October 3rd, and that'll be held almost every Friday. That we think there'll be a lucrative UFC event or even other betting events coming up. And our betting analysts are top-notch, so I would pay attention to them and what they are going to say. Again, our socials will have all about that. I appreciate you hanging out with us again. Anything else to add for the end?
Well, hey, I want to shout out to the chat. Hey, you guys had made this crap so effing funny. Appreciate it. Bring your friends on next time. Let's make the chat our special thing. Let's grow the chats. This thing was awesome. You guys stuck with us, and you gave us something to laugh about. And some of you, not all of you, made some good points, but the rest of you actually suck. But that's okay.
Yeah, chat. You guys make this super fun, and it makes me laugh my ass off, and I appreciate it.
I literally hate everyone in the chat.
They love Coach D. They love Coach D.
There's not a single human being in this chat tonight that I was like, I could be friends with that person.
Yo, when you make me go off the rails and laugh and lose composure, you did a good job. I was like, okay, I'm through. They done took me all out of my bearings.
No, Coach is right. Much love to the chat. You guys make this super enjoyable, and it's super fun. And you did bring up some good points and some bad points, and you guys just off the rails, like Chris said. But again, watch out for our socials. Again, tell us about your friends. Tell us about your sister. Tell us about your brother. Tell us about your dad. Tell us about your mom. Tell us about everybody.
I'm okay with the chat being off the rails, but could they throw some wrestling points in at some point? That'd be great.
I'm sure we'll get there.
Come on.
Other than that, Peace out, guys.
Later,
All right,
guys.
hold it down. Be safe.